This is 1.1. Remember 1.1, we talked about domain, range, and end behavior, right? And those are the characteristics of the graph. We're going to cover some of example problems, and then we're going to jump into other characteristics, okay? So here, it says to determine the domain of the following graph, right? So we're looking for, remember the domain is all possible x values, okay? So we're looking at our horizontal values, okay? Left to right. So when we see this, we're gonna write it in interval notation. Okay, remember our interval notation is blank, comma, blank, right? Where the first blank, the left-hand side blank, is our smallest value, our lowest value. So what is our lowest possible x value? -7. Let me zoom in. -8, right? That point is on -8. Okay? So that's my lowest value here, -8. And what's my highest value? 10, right? So it's -8, comma 10. And then on the, or we have to figure out if it's brackets or parentheses included. If it's brackets, right, that means that it's included. And then if it's parentheses, it means that it's not included or excluded. Right? So at that point, -8, is it included or excluded? Excluded or not included? So we're going to use parentheses. Same thing for 10. Okay? Same thing for 10 because of these open circles right here. Yeah? Because of those open circles right there, they're not included. Right? So that's my domain, parentheses, -8, comma 10, close parentheses. Okay? So my next example here is determine the range of the following. Remember, range is all possible y values. Okay? All possible y values in interval notation again. So it's blank, comma, blank, right? My left-hand side, what's the lowest y, possible y value? -6. Okay? It's -6, comma, what's my highest? 1, right? And then is it brackets or parentheses? Both? Around -6. Is it brackets or parentheses? Ooh, I hear both. So at -6, remember this is the range, right? So we're talking about the y values, correct? So at -6, is that does the is this point here exist on this point here? That point there. Does that point exist on the graph? Is it? Yes, it is. It's that point right there, right? It's a line that goes through it, right? Yeah. So it exists on the graph, correct? So it's going to be brackets. Brackets means that it's included. And at 1, does this point here, y is 1, right? So it's this guy here. Is that point on the graph? Yes. So it's also brackets. Okay, so if you look at our previous example, right? At -8 and 10 for my domain. Okay, my domain is x values. So when x equals 8, you see how this is an open circle? Yeah, that means that that point is not included, is not a part of my graph. Okay, that's why it's parentheses. This is an open circle, yes, but I'm looking at my y value, right? So my y values is from -6 to 1, correct? So inside here is my is all of the y values, correct? So those points there, here and here, they are a part of the graph. Yeah. So it can be, my y value can be -6, or it can be +1. All right. So that's why it's brackets. Cool. Okay. My next one is, what is the end behavior of this graph? Remember, end behavior is all is what happens at the ends of the graph, right? So we talked about this idea of, if I am all the way to the left of the graph, I'm at -infinity, right? If I'm all the way to the right of the graph, I'm at +infinity, correct? So we're always going to start our end behavior like this. As x approaches +infinity, and as x approaches -infinity. Okay? They can switch. You can put -infinity first. Doesn't matter, right? But what's going on at the tail ends of the graph? Okay? Where is my y value headed towards? Headed towards. Okay? Not the exact value. I don't care about the exact value. I just care about where it's headed towards. So as x approaches +infinity, or I'm all the way to the right of the graph, right, at +infinity, my graph here, it goes up and up and up, right? Towards what? Infinity. Towards infinity, right? It's going towards infinity, right? And as I end up at -infinity, right, all the way to the left-hand side of the graph, I'm going down, 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 down. If I'm headed down, I'm headed towards -infinity. Okay, so this is my end behavior. Okay, and now remember that this part of my end behavior will always be there. Okay, that's the definition of end behavior, right? What's happening towards at the ends of my graph. And we represent my ends of my graph as x approaches +infinity, as x approaches -infinity. What's going on with my graph? Okay? Yeah. Or it might tail off to like a certain point, right? So you just put that point in there. Okay? That is end behavior. Now let's practice some more on interval notation. Okay? So the set S is equal to x such that -6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 2. So in this inequality, right, I know my low end is 6, right? If I put it in terms of, interval notation, my lowest number will be -6, comma. My highest number will be 2. Is it brackets or parentheses? Brackets around both, right? Because it's equal to, it can equal -6, it can equal 2, so that's why it's included, right? And if it's included, it's going to be brackets. So that's why it's this guy here. Okay? Questions? No? I believe my last example is this. Okay? Express the inequality using interval notation. So the word or, class, and this union, this U button, they mean the same thing. Okay? So it's x is less than -6 or x is greater than -2, right? So since there's an or, right in the middle, I'm going to use that U button. Okay? Which means or. Okay? X is less than -6. This part, this inequality here, x is less than -6. What's my lowest number? Lowest number.
-6.
Lowest number. -infinity. If a number is less than -6, can it be -7? Can it be negative? If the number is less than -6, can it be -7?
Yeah.
Yes. Can it be -8?
Yeah.
Can it be -1,000?
Yeah.
Can it be -infinity? Yes. So that's my lowest number, right? -infinity is lower than -6, right? And what's my highest number that it can be? -6. Remember that in terms of negative infinity and positive infinity, it's always going to be in parentheses, right? Because it's an idea, it's not an actual number, so you can't put an actual value on it. It's just an idea of, hey, this is never going to stop. Okay? So it's parentheses. How about at -6? It's less than -6, right? Is it less than or equal to -6? No. So it's less than, so that number -6, is it included or excluded? Excluded, so it's parentheses. Okay? So how about the other one? X is greater than -2. What's my low number? What's my high number? Infinity. And again, infinity, it's an idea, so it's parentheses. How about at -2? Parentheses as well. So that's my answer. All right? Okay? So those are the examples for 1.1. All right. Thank you.